All right, hello guys. Me and Steve. I wish we ought to record our conversations beforehand.
Yeah, we probably get better
Because
ratings, but
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, me and Steve have known each other for like our whole lives, and like we talk about our parents and stuff like that, and just I don't know. It's the conversations we have. I'm like, we're gonna have a pod eventually where we just tell old stories. It would probably be
Yes.
the lowest rated show that
Pod,
we
but
have,
yes.
but we'll have a
No.
dang good time doing it. But
Just
okay, so let's get to
just the
OU.
brief exchange. We'll give you just the absolute Reader's Digest version of this, but Jeremy was just having the middle class dad problem of weeds in his lawn and how his dad be disappointed in that, which in turn talks about how our dads still want us to like do everything for ourselves, and my dad will still go to Jeremy's dad to run like something's wrong with his car to run like the machine thing on there, and we're just like, guys, y'all need to stop doing this. We want to just keep you two alive. That's
You
what we're
two should
trying to
be
get
in
at this
nursing
point.
homes.
But anyway, that's enough about Papa Goss and Daddy Downing. But if you do notice, I'm sitting more in the dark today. This is a time of mourning of once again our receiver room has the injury bug, the injury plague has bit us once again. So Jeremy, I'll let you start, and then I'm going to show a little optimism about it. But I'm going to let you go
Well,
first.
okay, so when you sent our friend group that text message about Giovanni Gibson being hurt, my only reply was, "We have to be cursed." Like it's to the point now where Brent Venables is cursed, right? Like, and I don't really know what to do. You have to practice, and he got rolled up on. It's not like they were hitting in practice and he got hit
Right.
hard on a knee. It's like I really don't know what you do on that. And
And
then
like football's a
and then
collision sport, guys. I mean, like you
yes,
can't just wrap these guys in bubble wrap and put them out there. And this was, for everything we've heard, like Jeremy said, Giovanni gets rolled up, and that's what happened. And Satanga's dinged up, and Lewis is dinged up, and all that stuff. But
I
here's the
will.
only
Hey, I
positive.
will say this though with Satanga, it makes you wonder after the Gibson stuff hit if they were like, okay, let's shut down a little bit. Let's not risk this. Like if you've got any kind of just nagging injury, let's not push it. And I think that's smart move.
Undermine the importance of the Crimson Combine.
I'm like, wait a minute, we're not going to get to see guys run 40s?
Yes,
Please, I beg of you.
I
Let
want
me
to watch
see this.
an 8-year-old race Giovanni Gibson in a 40.
I know. I was like, on my birthday, only thing I want to see is a bunch of guys run 40s. And if I don't get to see that, not a good birthday. So,
yeah. But to try to put a positive spin on this, at least this happened before the spring portal opened up. If there is a good time for a bad thing to happen, this is when we want it to happen. And this is exactly why we're paying Jim Nagy. Is, just like every AD should have a short list of if my head coach leaves, if my OC leaves, if my DC leaves, these are the people that I want to try to go look and go get. I would have to assume as someone who, Jeremy and I talk a lot of talent evaluation, how important that is. And this is what Jim Nagy was brought here to do. And, I've already heard a couple of names thrown out there. The kid from UCO, who's from Choctaw, don't know if it's Terrell or Terrell Davis. I'm not sure. It's not, it's not that Terrell Davis from Jeremy and I's age, but we could put him.
God, I hope not.
I
don't think we can get.
We could use him in the running back
run,
room, though. He was absolutely yoked. But and guys, Trajan Bridges is not coming back. I saw like some people being funny about that, some people not being funny about that. It's not funny to point a gun in somebody's face. We don't need Trajan Bridges back on the sidelines. We just don't.
But also, too, like Eddie said on the unofficial 40 today, it might reverse the curse if they let him go rob somebody and not get caught. That might reverse it. It's a thought. I'm thinking outside the box, and I think that's what Eddie was doing too. So but I don't know. There's so many. It's so bad because with OU football, you take so many positives. Like everything's going up, going up, going up, And then it's like we get injuries, and now it's went from, oh, look how great our football team is, and we're going to be so good, to, well, does Mateer even have anybody to throw to? So, I mean, that's
And I
what
mean,
football right now.
But here's the thing, truthfully, okay? There's a lot of receivers out there. There are. I mean, we don't. Maybe it is getting this kid from UCO, and maybe he's really good. I mean, once that much difference in competition of we'd all kind of talked ourselves into Giovanni Gibson, who's an Arkansas Pine Bluff. How much better is FCS than D2? We don't know. And there are people out there at receiver, and this is a position that is volatile. It's a position of prima donnas. It just is. I mean, this is a position that people are going to overpay in the portal. And we just have to go get better playmakers. I do think this opens the door up for a guy who, Jeremy and I talk about a lot, Elijah Thomas. I, definitely think there's some more doors opening for him here. I don't expect Jaden Gibson to be part of the solution. I expect him to be in the portal. Even if he is, well, I think that just kind of ends any of that. But that being said, I just think this is what we paid Nagy for, guys. This is it. And we need to go find some people and break some people in. But if we don't go sign, I think we need 2 receivers, because I think you need to, see what's out there. But that's what I think. What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that's going to really affect is the direction we were going in the spring portal. Because like Kerry said on the unofficial 40 today, he said the only thing it costs you, it might have been Kerry, George, I don't remember which one, but only thing it costs you is where you're going. You weren't looking at spending the money on receivers, and receivers are the most overpaid players in the portal. I mean, receivers get ungodly amounts of money. So, it just changes the direction, I think. So,
don't you think, like, Jeremy, this is kind of like this is conspiracy theory type stuff, but hey, that's why we have a podcast. I'm Brent Venables. This is it, right? We've got to go win this year. It's got to be good. BV has got some ties to some big name donors. Okay.
Yeah.
He's got some of I was watching rolling through Instagram reels like a lot of people do. And I was seeing this clip of this guy who does on Oklahoma stuff, and it was like the 5 wealthiest Oklahomans. And, it named the 5 billionaires in the state of Oklahoma. If I'm the Love family, okay, if I'm the guy who owns BOK, if I'm one of these billionaires, or if I'm, somebody else, whoever that is, and I've got some sort of relationship with Brent Venables, and it's BV and Joe C's job to have relationships with these people. They've got to go to these guys and say, look, I know whatever money you were planning on giving, I need 3 more million to go get receivers. We got to have it. We got to have it. Like, you love Oklahoma. Honestly, I love Oklahoma. I need this. We need it. We got to go get it.
And I honestly think that Nagy has done a lot of marketing and getting some good amounts of money rolling in. But it's early. I mean, that's the thing is you still got to get some of those out.
Shut up, man. It is. Like, we can't go there and say it's bad luck because this is before this portal opens. Okay. If this is after the portal opens, then we got to start spinning. We got to start, blah, 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 and all that. But we still have a chance to go add. Okay. Free agency's not over. Free agency is still there. So we've got to go spend money in free agency. We've got to have to, go over the original cap that we had, and we're going to have to go spend it. And that's just what it is. And you know what? Maybe this means, because if you're asking me, okay, Steve, what do you think? What do we need in the portal? I think we need probably 2 receivers. I think we need a tight end. I think we need another offensive lineman. And I think we need 1 or 2 corners. Those are things that I really think we have to have. Would I love to have a better running back? Yeah. But if you're telling me, do I have greater faith that Xavier Robinson or, Javonte Barnes or Taylor Tatum can figure it out than I do. Zion Raggins can figure it out. Yeah, I do. Okay. I think we have a greater need at receiver than we do at running back.
No, I
And
agree.
now, without these injuries, maybe that's not true. But maybe we have to pivot there. Maybe instead of spending that, maybe we spend it there. But and that's maybe I think kind of what you were saying, what Kerry was saying a little bit. But I just think like we is there any other needs you can think of? Maybe kicker. I
Yeah,
haven't
apparently.
heard great things.
Yeah,
I haven't
I
heard
heard.
great things about our kicking, about our place kicking in
Yeah.
spring camp either. But you know, the people Jeremy and I talk to, and they have some information for us. I mean, those guys aren't spending what little time they get watching kickers either. But what we've heard isn't amazing.
Yeah, I don't. It is worrisome when you talk about kickers because that means they're doing really bad. Because
Right.
I think with kickers, what is it? If you don't hear about a kicker,
I mean, it's
then
like
they're
an
good.
official, right? If you don't talk about the officials and they were good, yeah.
Absolutely. So I don't know. You look at it, our defense is going to be extremely stacked. And what have we gone to since Mateers came here? Mateer don't make mistakes and just plays complimentary football. It could be a special season. Now,
because I mean, when you're looking at this,
yeah.
at this portal needs list, which I think is just kind of like looking at holes in your roster. I mean, don't you agree, Jeremy? Really, the only big hole is corner, and not that it's a huge hole; it's just the injury risk, but with Gentry especially, and Eli being hurt right now. I still think don't be shocked to see Dolby play some out there as good as Daniels has looked. From all indications that we've got there, and I know this probably isn't something that's talked about a lot by the talking heads, but when I'm just doing the math, and this kind of is Daniel's contingent again, it wouldn't hurt us to add another linebacker either. To me, just somebody who can kind of play the extra linebacker role. You know, it wouldn't bother me to get somebody maybe like that was a starter at a Tulsa or something like that who could just come in. You know, maybe a fifth-year guy come in and help, but I don't think that's a have-to-have thing. I think those are the only two spots defensively, and you'd always take a dude at D tackle or a dude at defensive end, but I think if we're spending dude money, it's got to be on the offensive side of the ball.
It does. And Kendall Daniels, you look at him. At first, we were talking about with him like, well, he gives us depth. He can play cheetah, but I think the name that we were talking about last pod that is forgot a lot of is Kendall Dolby, because Kendall Dolby is versatile. He can play a bunch of different positions. But like you just said, I really feel like he is going to be probably moved a lot to corner because Gentry,
like playing nickel,
Gentry's,
more if you'd rather just call it that, nickel corner, whatever you want to call it,
Well, if Gentry's healthy, but that's a question with Gentry Williams. Gentry Williams is a great cornerback, but is he ever going to be healthy?
The most important ability is availability, and you have to be there. But that being said, guys, I mean, we'll see. And if anybody does go to the Crimson Combine, I was talking to my wife this weekend. We were supposed to play AAU basketball this weekend, but we had some kids not be able to make it. So my weekend freed up, and I was like, any interest in the Crimson Combine? And not a great response.
Hey, well, if that's not what you want to do, there will be an 8 a.m. softball game at Savage Park in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. So if I happen to head out to the Crimson Combine, I'll definitely put that out on Twitter if somebody wants to come and talk some Sooner stuff. But don't really know if that's what's happening this weekend. But original plans are off. Looks like decent weather. But let's talk about some positive portal things, Jeremy, and men's basketball. Positive in the portal so far.
The OU basketball and Porter Moser haters, we have been that. Is very quiet right now. And who would have thought when you bring a millionaire NBA player in there, you can spend money? It's a crazy concept. But guys, you're going to start watching this. NBA players are going to start being GMs in college basketball.
Yeah. I mean, I had a discussion. I was at a regional ADs meeting yesterday. I was talking to my buddy, JR Rollo, who's the head of the collective at Tulsa. And we were talking about how good the Final Four games were and kind of went into the portal and that sort of thing. And he was like, "Hey, look out for Davidson because Steph Curry just signed on to do a deal like what Trae Young's doing at Davidson, and he's going to start pumping some money through there." But let's talk about what we did get already. Tay Davis from from Notre Dame, and Nigel Pack from Miami. But if you're like me, you're like, that name sounds familiar. And then you went and looked, like, oh yeah, that's that dude from K-State who freaking never missed a shot when we played him. And I'll be like, girls, why are we losing to freaking K-State?
Hey, that's a millionaire. That's a millionaire that signed at Miami because they gave him one of the biggest like NIL deals. So that tells you how much money we're spending. So,
and I mean, and like guys, you get, and you guys know this. If you're listening to this pod, you're people who follow the portal and you understand this. But when you get people early on in this, that's who you really wanted. These are not the settles. Now, are we going to spend the $4 million in the portal that Texas Tech just spent to get Toppin back? No, we're not. But we spent money on Pack and Davis. Okay. We've got a visit coming this weekend, or maybe I think it's this weekend, but it could possibly even be tomorrow with Kamari McGriff, who's at UNC Wilmington. And these are all like top 100 portal guys. And if we could get that, what I have read, what I have heard is we're really looking at shooting and scoring is kind of the next thing we're looking at. And I'm going to give credit to Bob Prisbillo because I think maybe that's who I heard this from first, maybe Brody Luss. So I want to give credit to both of those guys, whichever one it was. But, they just said that OU is prepped to go really large for a shooter. And I say really large, they're talking around $1 million for a shooter. So, that should get us another 15, 20-point score to add with the two that we've already got. So that's pretty exciting right there.
It is. And you look at Florida winning the national championship, what did they have? Shooters. Mm-hmm. I mean, they shoot the basketball. So
something that is underrated, and Florida being a fellow Jumpman school, Florida's a Jumpman school. We're a Jumpman school. North Carolina obviously is a Jumpman school. Michigan's a Jumpman school. Trae Young just went over to Jumpman, to Jordan. And all of this is not coincidental, guys. These are all pushed by the same thing. And we're in a really good spot financially with all this stuff. And, it goes back to when we talked to when we had Ryan on and we were talking about the disconnect between Portal. See, I'm like Portal Moser. See, I've seen too much of Twitter, but with Porter and the disconnect between some of the ex-players, Trae helped bridge that gap as well. And so we're seeing this money flow in better and, just positive things. And I still think there's some things that need to be built. If you didn't see Duke Miles signed with Virginia, he left, but I don't see a war. Jeremy, okay, like Duke Miles or Nigel Pack, which one do you want?
Nigel Pack.
I mean, like, I think that's a pretty simple. Tay Davis or Luke Northweather.
Yeah. Okay. Well, also,
and those aren't apples for apples. Yeah. I get that. We're talking about really Davis is more taking Moore's spot and Pack's taking Fear's spot. I get that, guys. If you're yelling at the radio right now or YouTube, I get that. But just looking like this is going the right way right now. And these are two guys who have been as critical of Porter as anybody. But once again, what do we talk about all the time? It's talent evaluation and it's roster management. And it looks like we're doing a better job because last year we got ourselves in a crap position because we just knew we were getting Sean Padula. And so we didn't recruit anybody else for a long time. And that's how we ended up with, no offense to Duke Miles and Kobe Elvis, but that's how we ended up with those guys instead of people like Nigel Pack last year.
Yeah. And also, too, retention. I mean, the guys that are coming back, those are good sales pitches to some of these players that are coming in. Yeah, money is the end all, but that said, guys still like to win. Like, you're going to throw me $1 million. If I have $2 million from one school and $2 million from another school, where am I going to go? I want to go to the one where I'm going to win. Like, I'm got the same amount of money. So it just comes down to
And
retention. And what did we say? Like even with Brent, with Porter, is just learn from your mistakes.
exactly. And
And they
don't you
have.
think it's going to help, Jeremy? Like if I'm these guys, what do you want to do? Okay, you want to make money when you're in college. You want to go to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And getting Jeremiah Fears to come here, just for the year that he was here, he's going to go in the lottery. That gives us another lottery pick. That gives us, and you walk in and you're showing this around, and you're like, yeah, we've got Trae Young in the All-Star game. We've got Buddy Hield, who's been an All-Star. We've got Jeremiah Fears, who is another lottery pick. And I mean, and that's not even talking about Blake and all the people from the past as well. But it just goes to show. The attention span of these guys is not real long. But you can think
Mm-hmm.
about, oh yeah, man, Fears, he was good. He was cold. He was, he could play, and it's always going to say Oklahoma underneath there. That helps. It definitely
Absolutely.
does.
Yeah, it's just like now these kids that have to come to college. I mean, I guess they can go to G League, but most kids hell now they can make more money in college than they could in G League. So,
I mean,
but
do we not think that signing Elaine Chavez isn't going to help us in the portal in women's basketball?
hey, and guys,
Chavez, I mean, yeah, it is.
and don't be surprised next year if OU's women is probably a top 5 basketball team.
I mean, I saw a deal that just came out. I think it was the women's Twitter account where they were like way too early, number 7. And the word that Jeremy and I both heard coming out of Norman is they're expecting good things in the portal coming as well. They're going to be aggressive. And again, that was another about $1 million deal. And once again, Jordan Brand was a big part of that as well. So our affiliation for all the arrows that people want to throw at Joe C, it was really smart getting the Jordan Brand deal done back when we did. Because, if we would have waited till we were in the SEC to do that, we wouldn't be the Jordan Brand school in the SEC because Florida already would be that team. But, they're not going to take that away from us once that we were in that. So really big, really helps with recruiting. Just a good thing. But
well,
going from
but also too, before you go any further, the amount of crap Josie's got, and I've been a Josie backer just because I think he's the best athletic director in college sports. You can have bad years, and that's just the way it is. But the guy knows what he's doing. But look at the hires. Like, who hired Nagy?
Yeah.
Who hired Trae Young? I mean, these are 2 hires that he thought, what are going to be 2 hires that can help build both programs? Because people are like, college basketball is getting neglected. Well, they just brought a all-star NBA basketball player to be our GM. Who it's going to be the norm.
It's more, I mean, like we said it 100 times, and we're not. And Jeremy and I are advocating for this. I'm not saying Baker Mayfield is going to be the next assistant GM of Sooner football, but by God, if he wants to be, let him. Because do we think Mateer is here without that phone call from Baker Mayfield?
Absolutely.
No. Okay. And do we not think that having Trae Young being able to get on the phone to anybody and everybody anytime, being able to shoot text, DM, all the things that he's able to do as assistant GM to these recruits is not a great thing? Because, guess what? Not every team is going to have somebody who's an NBA All-Star doing that, okay? And so, once again, that's just a great move by Joe.
And North Carolina hired Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's a good coach, but is he a great college football coach? Who knows? But why'd they do it is because they can get players. That what gets players, an NFL Hall of Fame quarterback or a head coach that can have Tom Brady call you, Rob Gronkowski call you. I mean, Mateer was going to North Carolina to visit before Baker Mayfield called him. So, I mean, it's just the way it is. Use those assets to your favor.
Well, speaking of assets, Jeremy, this is really bad podcasting, but give us a softball update right now. What's the score of the Bedlam softball game?
Actually, I'm looking on my phone right now because I stopped looking because it was messing up my connection. It was messing up my connection.
We won't ask that, but
I think they're up 6-3 now. So OU is, but they
well, good news. And Jeremy, I'm going to leave the floor to you. Let's just talk a little let's talk a little softball here. Then we'll talk a little baseball before we
We were talking a little bit about it because I was telling him, like, at the time OU was down 3-2 before we started the pod, and it's funny because you look at OU softball and people are like, not as good. I'm like, yeah, they won 4 straight national championships. I hate to tell you this, guys, and I'm a huge OU softball fan. We are not going to win a national championship every year. Now, my worry is I think it's going to be real hard for us to get to Oklahoma City because when you are in the playoffs, regionals, super regionals, you got to have that dog. And I don't think we have that dog right now. I love Sam Landry. I think she's got good stuff. No. And if you don't have that strong pitcher, you've got to have a record-breaking offense if you want to win national championships. And we're just not clicking on cylinders. I am not saying that we are not going to, but you have to understand that we just lost a senior class that it's probably the most record-breaking class in college sports history.
No, I mean the only thing that compares guys are the UCLA
John Wooden teams.
Yeah, or the John Wooden, UCLA team. That's really the only comp for that. Or, you go back to the 56-game winning streak, Sooners of Bud Wilkinson. Those are really the only comp in any of the major sports.
Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, we bleed in softball now. It doesn't mean that we're going to lose, that we're going to lose series every weekend. Doesn't mean we're going to lose games, night to night. Yeah, we are. It's softball. Okay. Hot bats, balls bounce this way, that way. All that is true. You listen to this podcast, you understand that. But just know, for us, like Jeremy said, to end the season in Oklahoma City, which I do think is a realistic goal, but it's not a slam dunk, we're going to have to. And I think Landry can get there. But, maybe it's Kirsten Deal gets hot. I don't know. Maybe it's whatever. I don't know. We're going to have somebody come regional, come super regionals, that can go out there and shove.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? We're going to go against a pitcher. Maybe we're in a super regional with Texas Tech, and we've got to go through Canada. Maybe that's what happens. I don't know. Maybe we're in a super regional with one of these other really good SEC teams, and we've got to find a way to scratch out and win. And it's going to be hard. It's hard to score 6 or 7 runs every game. You're going to have to win some games 3-2, 2-1. And right now, I just don't know if we're able to do that because although I think our lineup is still deep, we haven't really had it where we've had more than like 2 girls, to me, 2 or 3 girls at a time really in their stride right now.
Yeah. And Ella Parker's struggling. And if she starts hitting and Cassidy Pickery's hitting and Agbiani's, that's the thing is they can still click. And, last year, I think a lot of people forget it because of our senior class. People are like, we got beat by BYU and Texas beat us 2 out of 3. It was like, man, I don't think we can win it, but we still have this class. And I think that's the one thing, we don't have that little cushion in that little safe place that we could go to with that class because we don't know yet. So I do now.
We
and
still
I
have
do
the best
think,
coach. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not worried about that. And Patty is such a dude with the mental side, the mental side of it as well. And I mean, I would hate to be the team that drew us in super regionals, even if we are struggling.
Well,
just for the simple fact of like, holy freaking crap, that's who I got. That sucks.
Hey, we can say what we want, and this is me kind of probably wearing crimson colored glasses, but it's good for Oklahoma City in the game of softball if OU's in the
guarantee you
College World Series.
And,
so
I mean,
hey, it's the same way with OSU. If you watch,
but let's talk the other stickball. Somebody that might not be going to Omaha, and that's okay. It's not fire Skip Johnson time. Okay, that's not where we're going with this. But I mean, rough weekend series to LSU. Once again, we played the evil overlords from Dallas Baptist. Quit playing those freaking guys. Dear God, listen to us. I think it was either Gabe or Teddy One was talking about it on their Sunday pod, too, of just like, well, we got our scheduled loss to Dallas Baptist coming up this weekend as well. I think that's why my Teddy voice there. So hopefully Teddy doesn't hear that and beat me up again. But
you go talk like this.
yeah,
Keep in mind, me and Steve have known Teddy for a long time, so
yeah,
we can be like, you talk like
we
this.
can do that.
But he can still beat our butt. So
yeah, it's fine. He works out more than we do, but that's okay.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah. 12-ounce girls don't count, Jeremy. And this is diet root beer I'm drinking today. No sponsorship from A&W yet, but that being said, like, guys, we were competitive in that LSU series, and I don't mean that the middle of the week stuff doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter as much. And we talked about that on here before, but we were competitive in LSU series, just didn't win. And I think that's probably indicative of the team that we are. I think we are a good team. I don't think we're a great team. I think we're a tournament team. I don't think we're a World Series team. I think we're a team that's got a really, really good number one pitcher. I think we've got a team that's got a streaky offense that, we ran into some buzzsaws this weekend. I mean, guys, LSU's really good. They got a chance to win it. It wasn't like we got swept, by, Rogers State or something. That's no besmirch to, to our friends at Claremore there. But that being said, it's okay, but let's hope we can kind of get off the mat, because it kind of seems like a little bit dark for the baseball program a little bit right now.
Yeah, gotta get hitting going. I mean, that's the problem.
It's just depressing. I mean, when you're not scoring, guys, it's hard. I mean,
and when you
have to be perfect on the mound.
What was it? Friday night, Witherspoon pitches a gym.
Yeah,
and that's discouraging as a guy that pitched in high school and also whose kid now pitches softball. I can tell you, as I coach my kid in softball, and she's pitching a gym, there's a lot of times I come to the dugout and I go get her a run. That's all she needs. And when you don't get that run, it's but
then we try to have to be perfect, Jeremy. And I mean, that's what's weighing on a little bit. So hopefully we can get that turned around. Hopefully, that'll happen. We got good weather coming up, and it was really rough weather last weekend out there too. And I realize it was rough weather for LSU as well. I don't mean it's only weather on one side, but I'm not losing faith in the baseball team, but probably recalibrating a little bit of the expectations.
Yeah.
But once again, am high on our baseball staff, high on our baseball trajectory. I think that's all going there. And I think of all the sports, if we would have had this pod a year ago or 2 years ago, Jeremy and I would have talked about the biggest thing we'd been concerned with where we would be baseball-wise going in. And if you'd asked Steve of 2023 this question, guys, we're in great shape from where I thought we might be. As far as a program and all that stuff going there. So all in all, still positive things there, but
Skip Johnson didn't forget how to coach. I mean, it's
not like
baseball and softball's tough.
I mean, last night was rough, but it wasn't like we were uncompetitive in those LSU games either, and that's what we're looking for. So
he's setting his staff up for Vanderbilt this weekend, because it's very important to win 2 out of 3 at least.
Yeah, absolutely, we cannot get swept.
Absolutely not.
I'm with Jeremy. I think we've got to win 2 out of 3. But I mean, like, if we get swept, then next week when Jeremy and I are on here, we might do the emergency, not fire Skip, but sacrifice the live chicken for the
Hey, we got to get Trey. Hey, it's like I said, we got to get Trajan Bridges.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But I'm trying to think if there's any other. There's another football thing that I was going to mention, but it has just kind of left my mind as we're going through it. It will be interesting, and not that Jeremy and I are credentialed media, but I would really love to hear some more from. Look, let's just finish up on this. Talk a little bit Crimson Combine again to put a bow on everything. It would be nice to hear from BV and from Arbuckle and from Nagy. And it's not like they're going to be like, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. And Nagy's like, here's my big board of receivers. And here's who I'm going to get. And here's what we're going to do. And yes, I did tell Devon Mitchell to get out. And that's actually what it was. It was Devon Mitchell that we missed out on last week. And but miss out on. But that was what I was going to bring up. So my little rant paid off there. But
who would have thought?
any lingering thoughts on Crimson Combine or Devon Mitchell or anything else like that, Jeremy, before we sign off?
I think this is going to be our last Crimson Combine. I don't see like where you can make this a thing. You're met people paying $10 for it. Spring football and the spring games, yes, they're good money makers, but you look at the injuries we're having. I mean, come on. It's to the point now where you can't risk it. The risk is not, worth it. So it's a fun thing for the fans. They're doing little things more geared for the fans and stuff like that. But
I do think, honestly, the scrimmages are coming, whether it's next year or the year after. And will it necessarily be a full scrimmage? No, I think it'll be like a 2-team practice, like the NFL model. But they've got to find a way. Look, what's the answer to all your questions? Money. And if there's a way for them to make more money on it, and Mike Gundy threw that out knowing it wasn't realistic for now. But I do think Mike Gundy is doing that with a little bit of leverage for later. And I don't necessarily think that'll be OSU. I think OSU is going to be on the schedule coming up.
Yeah.
But could I see that being in North Texas or a Tulsa or, somebody like that? Yes, 100%. Someone of that ilk, Arky State, something like that. I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think OSU is going to ever be in the cards when it comes because that's a game that you can tell guys not to, hey, take it easy. Like, they're still bragging rights, especially if you're not playing in the regular
the last
season.
thing that our friends in Stillwater would really want is if you just open up that stadium to OU and OSU fans at like a $10 a head or $20 a head and just do a line out there. Number one, OU is going to have more people there. And number two, the amount of fist fights that are going to happen in the line of people trying to get in.
Yeah.
We might as well just quit doing this and be YouTubers filming bum fights, and we would both be able to quit our day jobs. But
and speaking of going to OSU, I will be in Boone Pickens tomorrow night for the Boys of Oklahoma concert. So if anybody sees me and hey, you want to say hi, that's fine. I will be the guy who is probably too old to be hanging out with everyone, so it'll be fun though. I don't know, but I'm going to enemy territory.
Goss won't be there, and why will Goss not be there? Once again, the answer to all your questions is money, because Jeremy Goss is cheap.
Yes,
and we know he won't be there.
Okay. This is the guy that bought Dino Bites instead of Fruity Pebbles when we were in college. So
yeah, Hey, no, when Jeremy and I lived together, I was the guy who would throw the cans down and din them at the grocery store, just like on Big Daddy,
No, you would cut. He would get coupons on Sunday. That's all I'm going to say. But
hey, we got the Sunday Oklahoma. We had a free subscription. I would sit there in the living room and cut coupons. That did happen. That is 100% true. But Jeremy did not complain when we got the great deal. So we'll leave you with that. And like Jeremy said, sometime this summer we'll have a story time pod where you can just learn what degenerates that we were and or still are.
The coupon cutting and everything.
You'll feel even more sorry for our spouses than you already do. So have a great weekend, everybody.
Hey, before we get off here. Hey, 97.
Let's get to 100, guys.
Well, hey, we got 3 off. I know we took a week off and it dropped us a little bit. So 3 off from 100 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah. Follow us on Apple and Spotify. And until next time.
Soonercast@gmail.com. Send us an email, guys. Love to talk to you. Boomer.
All right, Boomer Sooner.